Change isn't just inevitable in today's organizations, it's constant. As a team leader, your ability to help others embrace change rather than resist it can make the difference between thriving and merely surviving. Today, we'll explore practical approaches to guide your team through transitions with both empathy and clarity. Section 1. Understanding resistance. Before we dive into techniques, let's understand why change is so challenging. Resistance isn't stubbornness, it's a natural human response. Our brains are wired to perceive uncertainty as a threat. When team members resist change, they're often expressing legitimate concerns about their competence, autonomy, or sense of purpose. The most common mistake leaders make? Treating resistance as a logical problem when it's primarily an emotional one. Information alone rarely changes hearts and minds. Connection does. Section 2. The Listening Foundation. Effective change leadership begins with active listening. Create a dedicated space for team members to express concerns without judgment. Acknowledge emotions first before moving to problem solving. A simple, "I can see you're frustrated by how quickly this is happening," creates psychological safety that makes everything else possible. The key is demonstrating understanding without necessarily agreeing. You might say, "I understand your concern this new process might compromise quality standards, which I know matters deeply to you." That's a legitimate worry given your commitment to excellence. This validation doesn't mean you're changing course. It means you're creating the foundation for productive conversation. Section 3. Clarity and boundaries. Once you've established understanding, the next step is providing clarity. Effective change leaders are transparent about what's changing and why it matters, what's negotiable versus non-negotiable, where team members have input and autonomy, what support will be available during the transition. Ambiguity breeds anxiety. Clear boundaries create psychological safety by reducing uncertainty. Don't sugarcoat challenges, but remain solution-focused. This reality-based approach builds trust even when the message is difficult. Section 4. Creating ownership. Humans have a fundamental need for autonomy. When change feels imposed, resistance intensifies. The antidote? Create opportunities for meaningful participation. Identify aspects of the change where team members can have real input. This might include implementation timelines, training approaches, or adaptation to your specific context. Ask questions like, "What would make this transition more successful?" Or, "How might we preserve what's working well while embracing this new direction?" When people co-create change, resistance transforms into engagement. Section 5. Individual approach. Remember that teams are made up of individuals who respond to change differently. Some embrace novelty, while others prioritize stability. Some need detailed information, while others focus on the big picture. Take time to understand each team member's specific concerns and adaptation style. A one-size-fits-all approach rarely succeeds. The question isn't just, "How do we implement this change?" but, "How can I help Maria, Devin, and Priya navigate this transition in ways that work for them?" Section 6. Reinforcement and celebration. Change isn't a single event, it's a process. Create momentum by identifying and celebrating early wins. Recognize efforts, not just outcomes. When someone takes a risk or adapts successfully, acknowledge it publicly. Establish regular check-ins to assess progress, address emerging challenges, and recognize milestone achievements. This continuous reinforcement helps new behaviors and systems take root. Section 7. Personal resilience. Finally, remember that your own relationship with change shapes how you lead others through it. Team members look to you for cues about how to respond. Practice self-awareness about your own reactions. Where do you feel resistance? What uncertainties trigger your stress response? By acknowledging and managing your emotions about change, you model the resilience you hope to develop in your team. Conclusion: leading others through change isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating the conditions for adaptation. By listening deeply, providing clarity, creating ownership, addressing individual needs, reinforcing progress, and modeling resilience, you transform change from something that happens to your team into something that happens with them. The most powerful message you can send isn't, "This change will be easy," but rather, "This change may be challenging, but we have what it takes to navigate it together." Remember, people don't resist change. They resist feeling powerless in the face of change. As a leader, your role is to restore that sense of agency and capability. When you do, resistance gives way to resilience, and your team doesn't just survive change, they thrive through it.